My girlfriend reconnected with her ex and everything shifted. Not all at once. Not in a dramatic way. It happened quietly, the way trust usually breaks. We had been together for almost 2 years. Long enough to know each other's routines, fears, and habits. Long enough that silence felt louder than words. I thought we were solid. Not perfect, but real. She told me about her ex early on. Just one serious relationship before me. Ended badly. No contact. Completely in the past, she said. I believed her. So when she casually mentioned his name one night, I didn't react. He messaged me today, she said, scrolling through her phone like it didn't matter. Just checking in. I shrugged. Okay. I didn't want to be that guy. The insecure one. The one who can't handle a past that existed before him. She smiled at my reaction. Almost relieved. At first, nothing changed. She still called me every night. Still came over on weekends. Still laughed the same way. But then, small things started to feel different. She'd check her phone more often. Tilt the screen away when typing. Reply slower to my messages. When I asked how her day was, her answers got shorter. Less detailed. I told myself I was imagining it. A week later, she mentioned him again. He's going through a rough time, she said. We're just talking. As friends. Friends. I nodded. Again. But something inside me tightened. Not because she was talking to him, but because she felt the need to reassure me without me asking. That night, while we were watching a movie, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it quickly and flipped it face down. I noticed. She noticed that I noticed. Do you want me to stop talking to him? She asked, a little too fast. I shook my head. No, I trust you. And I meant it. But trust doesn't turn off awareness. It just teaches you to stay quiet when something feels wrong. Days passed. Then weeks. And slowly, I realized I wasn't competing with her ex. I was competing with a version of her past she hadn't let go of. One night, I asked her directly. Why now, I said. Why reconnect with him, after all this time? She hesitated. He knows me in a way you don't, she said softly. That sentence landed heavier than she expected. I didn't argue. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't accuse. I just sat there, realizing something important. If someone from the past can suddenly matter this much, then maybe the present isn't as secure as I thought. And that was the moment everything truly began to shift. After that conversation, things didn't explode. They thinned. That's the only word that fits. Our time together felt stretched, like fabric pulled too tight. She was still there, but less present. Her laughs came a second late. Her eyes drifted away when I spoke. I started noticing patterns. She'd reply to his messages immediately, even if we were mid-conversation. She'd leave the room to take calls she said were nothing important. She stopped telling me details about her day. When I asked, she'd smile and say, "You're overthinking." That phrase became familiar. One evening, we were lying in bed when her phone buzzed again. She turned slightly away from me, pretending to scroll social media. "Is that him?" I asked calmly. She froze for half a second. "Yes," she said. "But it's not like that." "Not like what?" I didn't ask. I already knew the answer would feel like 11, if it technically wasn't. A few days later, she canceled our plans last minute. "He needs someone to talk to," she said. "I'll call you later." She didn't. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment from the past few weeks. I realized something painful. She wasn't choosing him over me. She was choosing access to him over respect for me. The next time we saw each other, I asked her a simple question. "If I asked you to stop talking to him, would you?" She didn't answer right away. That pause told me everything. "I don't think that's fair," she said finally. "You're asking me to erase someone who was once important to me." I nodded. "And you're asking me to accept being second to someone who no longer should be?" I replied. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't disagree. That silence hurt more than a fight would have. She promised me nothing was going on. That she loved me. That I was imagining threats that didn't exist. But love doesn't feel like uncertainty. And I was beginning to understand something terrifying. You don't lose people all at once. You lose them in pieces. And I could feel myself losing her quietly while she stood right in front of me. I stopped asking questions after that. Not because I had answers, but because I was afraid of what they might confirm. Instead, I observed. I noticed how she smiled at her phone in ways she hadn't smiled at me in weeks. How she mentioned his name casually, like it was supposed to mean nothing. How she defended him faster than she defended us. One afternoon, I asked her if she wanted to grab coffee after work. "I can't," she said. "I already made plans." "With him?" I asked. She didn't deny it. "He's going through a lot," she replied. "I don't want to abandon him." That word, abandon, stuck with me. Because somehow, supporting him had become more important than protecting what we were building. That night, I finally said what had been sitting in my chest for weeks. "I feel like I'm losing you," I told her. She sighed. Not in frustration, but in exhaustion. "I'm still here," she said. "You're just making it hard." That hurt. Because I wasn't making it hard. I was reacting to what was already breaking. A few days later, something happened that changed everything. She left her phone on the kitchen counter when she went to shower. It buzzed. Once. Twice. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. The name on the screen was enough. Him. When she came back, she saw where my eyes were and stopped cold. "You didn't read anything, did you?" she asked. "I didn't have to," I replied. She sat down slowly. "I swear it's just talking," she said. "Nothing physical. Nothing romantic." I asked one question. "Do you hide the conversations from me?" She didn't answer. That silence landed heavier than any confession. Because, if it's innocent, I continued quietly, there'd be nothing to hide. She finally spoke. "I didn't want to hurt you." But she already had. Not by choosing him, but by choosing secrecy. I realized then that trust doesn't disappear suddenly. It erodes. Every hidden message, every half-truth, every pause before answering a simple question. And what scared me most wasn't what she might be doing. It was how easy it had become for her to justify it. Because when someone starts defending the line they're crossing, they've already crossed it. After that night, something between us changed permanently. She became careful. Too careful. She started locking her phone, turning it face down, taking calls in other rooms, little behaviors that scream louder than words ever could. I didn't accuse her again. I didn't need to, because once trust cracks, silence does the accusing for you. One evening, she came home late. Later than usual. Later than she said she would. "Traffic," she explained quickly, dropping her bag by the door. I nodded, even though her voice didn't sound rushed, just rehearsed. We ate dinner in quiet, not comfortable, quiet, avoidant quiet. Then she said something that confirmed everything I'd been feeling. "He understands me in ways you don't," she said suddenly. I looked up. "Who?" I asked, even though I already knew. She froze. "I didn't mean it like that," she said. "I just mean we have history." That word again. History. As if history was a valid excuse to rewrite the present. History doesn't give someone access to our relationship, I said. She didn't argue. She just looked tired. And that's when I realized she wasn't confused. She was conflicted. And when someone is conflicted between you and someone else, you're already losing. A few days later, the truth surfaced on its own. I ran into a mutual friend at the grocery store. They hesitated before speaking. I didn't know you and your girlfriend were taking a break, they said carefully. My chest tightened. We're not, I replied. They looked embarrassed. Oh, I just assumed. She's been spending a lot of time with her ex. People thought. They stopped themselves. But the damage was done. That night, I confronted her. Are people supposed to think we're not together anymore? I asked. She stared at the floor. I didn't correct them, she admitted. That hurt more than anything else she could have said. Because not correcting a lie is choosing it. I didn't want to explain, she said. Things are complicated. No, I replied quietly. You made them complicated. She cried then. Said she was overwhelmed. Said she didn't mean for it to go this far. But it already had. Because somewhere along the way, she stopped protecting us. And I finally understood something painful but clear. She hadn't reconnected with her ex to get closure. She reconnected to keep a door open. And now, I had to decide if I was willing to stand in a relationship where I was no longer the only choice. I didn't give her an ultimatum. I didn't say him or me, because love shouldn't have to compete. Instead, I asked one question. Do you still want this relationship without keeping him in your life? She didn't answer right away. That pause told me everything. I don't know, she said finally. I don't want to lose either of you. That was the moment it ended. Because choosing both is still choosing wrong. I nodded slowly, feeling something inside me settle not break. I deserve to be with someone who's sure about me, I said. Not someone who keeps backups. She cried, apologized. Said she never meant for it to hurt me like this. But intention doesn't erase impact. And love without boundaries becomes disrespect. I packed my things that night. She stood in the doorway, watching, silent, not fighting, not stopping me. And that silence was her final answer. Walking away hurt, but staying would have hurt more.
Weeks later, I heard she and her ex tried again. It didn't last. Old patterns rarely change just because the circumstances do. As for me, I learned something I'll carry forward. If someone needs to reconnect with their past to understand their present, they're not ready to build a future with you. Sometimes everything shifts not because someone cheats, but because they stop choosing you when it matters most.